William, it has been many years since you fell asleep. Since they set you in that weird chamber and the gas hissed in after the long, long spree of lives that you took. It's been a very long, dry dream. One night, it finally happens. You hear the hissing again. And you can feel your eyes as they start to flutter open. You hear the distant murmurs of voices as if from voices long ago. But then you realize that they are simply right in front of you. As your eyes begin to adjust to what's in front of you, they blur. You hear what seems to be arguing. And as it clarifies for you, your eyes blur, and as you begin to blurrily glance out the front of this tank that you're trapped in, you see three men in a dimly lit room. The lights are just starting to flicker back on. Sure, cutting the power was the right idea. They won't notice it. They'll just think it was another generator kicking on. What are we looking for again? Some stupid book? That stupid book's worth more than your life, pal. So you get it, and you don't worry about it. You hear that hissing? One of the men looks to you, clad in kind of like an all dark, what looks to be kind of like a security jumpsuit. Did that thing just move? As you get a better look of this room around you, there are many other little tubes, not unlike the one you're trapped in currently, but also directly to the side, you see this caged-off area containing a number of curiosities, little baubles, ends, and your mask. Stop playing around. We gotta look back through here. One of the men is currently working on the barred gate to that logged-off section. As the other one steps back outside, I'm gonna keep a lookout outside. All right, yeah, just... The curious man begins to walk towards you, William. Swore that thing just moved.
I stare at my mask.
See, yeah, his eyes, they just fucking flicked. Yeah. Shut up. Oh, what was that?
Can I move my arms?
You're starting to feel sensation back in your body, and the little leather straps that had secured your arms to this thing have long since weathered with age. You're not sure how long you've been here. But the leather around your wrist feels very weathered and weak.
I will tug on my arm to free my right arm and place it on the glass if I can break the little strappies.
Go ahead and give me a roll plus body to start us off here.
I gotcha. Just gotta find out where your little... There we go.
That is a 7. And as you're staring at your mask, you hear a large ka-chunk from the man working at the gate. This takes the attention away from the man who is staring at you. Got it! As the door slowly creaks open, you slam your fist forward, crashing through the glass and grabbing this man by the side of the face. Ah! Ah! Oh, shit! The men begin to panic as you grapple this man. He's trying to break free from your grasp.
There's broken glass, right?
There's broken glass, and you have this man. You kind of have like your middle and ring finger kind of like hooked around his cheek, and like your pinky is just kind of like slightly wrapping around his throat. The back of your thumb kind of has him by the ear.
I want to throw him out of the way and walk toward my mask.
All right, you wish to toss this man. Go ahead and give me another roll plus body.
That is a 15.
Nice.
In order to break the rest of the glass in front of you, you pull him in, shatter his face against the rest of this broken glass. You see it as shards stick into his eye and face, kind of crest themselves into the side of his neck, and then you throw him out of the way as you rip your other arm off. The man who was standing by the gate is now kind of like moving slowly backwards into the space. Shit. Another man who just went outside comes back in through the door. What the fuck is going? Jesus Christ, what is that? As he lifts a very intricate-looking rifle towards you. You begin to make your way towards your mask. Standing between you and your mask is this other man who just cracked open this door.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take him out from the direction of my mask.
How would you like to do that?
He has the gun leveled at me, right?
The guy coming in through the door to... I guess this door would be to your left now. Has a gun leveled at you.
I am going to rush toward him. It is in the direction of my mask, but if he's in the direction of my mask, he's not going to be there anymore. I'm going to grab him. Basically, I'm going to grab his gun and club him to death with it.
All right. He tries to level his gun at you. Go ahead and give me a roll plus body.
All right. I clicked the button. I'm going to wake us. Yeah, there we go. That's a 14.
It's a hot rolls tonight. As he levels the gun at you, he's just about to pull the trigger, but then you just power walk into him, grab the muzzle of the gun, and rip it from his hands as you lift it above your head, his eyes wide with shock. As you bring it down towards the side of his face, you slam him across the jaw. Several of his teeth go flying out the other side of his face. As you lift the gun again, smack! Blood splatters. Smack! Blood splatters, smack, and blood just gushes and oozes and splatters into that caged area full of baubles. Now all that's left is that man who ran into the cage. Where's that book? Where's that book? Not realizing that as he's jostling around, he knocks a very peculiar artifact onto the ground into the now collecting pool of blood beneath him. Prophet. As you hear the screams, the chorus of screams echoing around you, you listen for the voice and the overtones. The one who calls and directs the very fabric of existence. You can hear the chains rending the flesh, the wires binding bone around you as the screams of the cacophonous initiates echo all around you. You once again hear the overtones. You're being called back to the mortal plane. It has been so long. How long has it been? You feel the world begin to twist and turn. Sarah?
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't sure if that was my cue or not.
Yeah, that's you.
So, goodness, am I seeing anything now, or am I, what am I,
In your sanctum, you begin to hear the clicking and turning and twisting as you finally look up. Would you like to describe yourself as you can see a portal beginning to ebb its way, cutting the veil between worlds?
The prophet, she, it, they, extraordinarily pale, sort of like leather black flowing clothes, sort of that are both regal and yet tattered. And a lot of her body, their body, is just covered in wires, like wrapped tight, so tight around her throat that you'd think it would be killing her, but they're not. Wires like puncturing into her face like these ornate piercings, wires wrapped around her wrists or ankles. Like how many wires are actually around her clothes, under her clothes, you don't know. That's just wires upon wires. And she just, I'll just go with she because I keep going to that. So the portal is open?
You look behind you and you can see it as the veil begins to shift in that clockwork-like fashion as it slowly begins the dilation. And through the portal, you see this hulking beast of a man wielding what looks to be a firearm by the muzzle as he is pounding this still somehow living man's skull, his eye trickling around, and notices you. This dingy, dark gray room.
Can I step through?
You can.
I will.
William, you're no longer alone, as this pale mystery individual has now just appeared and is observing your brutality.
I will lightly tilt my head at it.
She cocks her head slightly and just utters, "Disciple."
There's something odd about this one, Prophet. Something odd about its eyes.
I clocked that. How about the man he's pounding into hamburger?
His jaw has been tenderized into what is essentially a patty of ground up meat and bone. His mouth is very much draining of blood, his tongue is flicking, his arms flailing, trying to reach forward, experiencing untold agony as it's trying to pull itself away from whatever nightmare it's found itself in.
Can he still see?
It seems like it's conscious. You can go ahead and give me a roll plus strange, as you do have slight empathic abilities. You can kind of read the surface level feelings of creatures around you.
Sure. 11.
Oh, its agony is exquisite. And it is very much terrified.
I will kneel down and place my hand on his forehead. Lamb, welcome to the flock. My hand will shift to cover his eyes, and I would like to send a wire straight into his eye socket, into his body.
With another roll plus strange, you will do just that.
I like this. This is fun. Another 11.
You shoot your wire in through his tear duct, wrapping it around his ocular nerve, and continue to wrap it further and further deep into his body until it's woven all throughout his very nervous system. His eyes begin to bulge out from these wires constricting around the nerves. It tries to let out a scream, but its mouth is so gutturally choked by his own face meat.
No need. There'll be time for that later.
The man who went in to unlock the cage, beyond the smell of blood, the slight ammoniatic smell of urine kind of enters your nostrils as well, William. As this man is now just frantically looking, you can hear things kind of like clattering back there as he grabs hold of a leather-clad book, and he slowly starts to try to make his way out of this room. He begins to make a break for the door.
Do I see this as well?
You do.
I would like to block his path with another wire.
Go for it. Roll plus strange.
I like rolling strange. Another 11.
Well, there you go. As he's beginning to run, coming straight out, is this an attempt to stop or an attempt to kill?
Just an attempt to stop.
Well,
for now.
As he's beginning to run, another wire flies forth, this time kind of coming off of the cage door itself. A few of the links of the cage begin to stretch out, and they wrap themselves around this man's wrist, coiling and tightening to the point of constriction. He actually begins to deglove his own arm for a moment as it stops him short of reaching the door. Fuck! The book flies out of his hands, out the open door. No!
Oh, no. I've only just arrived, and I haven't met you yet.
What the fuck?
Glances toward, William, is it?
William, the path to your mask is now completely open and unguarded.
I will grab my mask and I will throw it on my face quickly.
William just is very casually walking, and he grabs this. How would you describe the mask, William?
The mask that I thought for William is a stark white, full head mask. It's just a stark white human mask. Just completely covered in blood, random eldritch sigils, and feathers that are just pressed into it.
This mask covered with glyphs and plumage and viscera. He places it on his face, and once again, William, you feel whole.
Ah, I see you now. Friend of yours.
No!
I shake my head no.
Oh,
Turns back to him.
let's see then if we can be friends.
What the fuck?
What's that ability I have, to read his thoughts, emotions?
Yeah, it's empathic ability. It's just another roll plus strange if you wish to read him.
Another 11!
God damn, we're
That
rolling
is...
real hot tonight.
Wait, that's 4 straight 11s.
This time with a different configuration of die rolls, at least.
I'm gonna take you to a casino.
No doubt this man is terrified. He's panicked. And as you hear boot falls coming down the hallway, they kind of stop short. Like, you can feel a slight sense of hope. The boot falls stop. You hear the very subtle sound of that book being picked up, and then boot falls running the other way, and the man immediately goes back to a strong feeling of panic and helplessness. No! You bastards, no!
Oh, how very basic.
Let's see, I have him by the wrist, correct?
Yeah, his arm is partially degloved right now because of that.
Let's pull him up by his wrist closer to the ceiling, shall we?
The wire goes up to a small rafter and hooks its way around. The squelching and snapping of sinew as his arm is being the only bit of weight being pulled by this constrictive wire. The flesh once again tearing and ripping as it goes down to his wrist. And as the book gets further and further away, where's that other one? This one. Ancient One. Somebody has touched the book. You're not sure which book, which plane, but you know whatever plane it is, it contains mortal life. And oh, what fun there is to have in the mortal realm as you can feel that veil weaken. Once again, you can press your form through that veil and into that realm.
This one craves to be in the flesh prison.
As you force your way between the walls of the dimensions, you find yourself in a strange metal room surrounded by strange objects. This whole area feels weird, like you're entangled in some sort of ancient runic net. Normally you have a direct connection to this book wherever it's been pulled off to. You can see where it was taken from, all the runes and sigils around it. Clearly whoever took it did not know the proper way to take it. They didn't know the words.
Curses.
What's more, you see a furious sight as both Prophet, you would feel something kind of otherworldly shifting its way into your realm. This would feel kind of like a cold tingle rising up the wires of your back. And William, go ahead and give me a roll plus strange to see if you feel this as well. Because you are somewhat connected to the ethereal.
No.
You don't feel shit. You don't care. You got your mask.
I got it. I got my thing.
But before you, Ancient One, you see two living humans and one that has been completely eviscerated by glass and what looks to be a crushing force. And then an otherworldly creature, one you might be tacitly familiar with, one that you may not have had direct interaction with, but you know their kind. And then...
by that proxy, am I familiar with him?
Go ahead and give me a roll plus... I guess this would be strange.
It's a lot of strange.
This is a lot of strange.
9.
Tacitly. You are tacitly familiar with the fact that there are, in fact, other ancient beings out there. You know that your... the power of the all that you speak to is not the only grand power out there. The one that you speak to is just the only supreme power that you bow your knee to, or bend your knee to, essentially, or believe in the will of. But you know there are other ethereal powers out there, and whatever you're feeling right now appears to be the coming of another one. A slight tendril of something ancient and evil.
We appear to have a gathering.
What the fuck are you talking about, you crazy bitch?
As he's screaming, she flicks up a finger and wires cover his mouth.
This man's at your mercy. I'm not going to make you roll more strange for that.
Actually, Prophet will look to William and say,
I'm curious. How would you proceed?
and steps back to see what he will do.
I will nod and move forward. Biggest question, and we'll probably name for my inspiration. Are there any knives around?
On this man's belt, there is a very large combat knife.
That's mine.
So William reaches up and from this man's belt produces what appears to be like practically a Bowie knife. It has a very particular design. The metal is kind of like a very cold, almost bluish gray steel. It has no reflective pattern, but a very almost like harsh looking grain to it.
I will tilt my head as I regard the glow of the metal.
It does almost give off a faint glow.
And I will trace it to the base of his collarbone and then drive it in.
This man is essentially helpless, but just for the sake of gore and fatality, go ahead and give me a roll plus body.
That's a partial, that's a 9.
You jab it in there, and this thing goes into his flesh like a knife. And as you drag it down, it gets caught on a few ribs, but as each and every one of them snaps on the way down, the blood from his mouth begins to leak through the wires that are currently sewing his lips shut. Until finally, he snaps those wires as his mouth rips open. And then he dies hanging from his arm. Ancient One, this brutality, as it catches your eye, the one that just did the killing, there's something very odd about this one. He's not like any mortal form you have seen previously. There's something strange about it, and as you watch the human soul that he just killed, as you watch the light leave its eyes, it almost seems to travel inward towards the one that just did the killing. There is now... Oh, go ahead.
Human. But you're more than...
By the way, you have no way of actually communicating presently, as you do not
I
have
know,
a corporeal
that's just me
form.
talking to myself.
Gotcha. Just making sure everybody else knew.
Prophet. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I will look at the prophet, and then with my bloody hand, I will trace another sigil onto my mask. And then just stare at them with my head tilted, holding the bloody knife.
Ancient One, there are 2 corpses and 1 agonizing being still alive that you think you'd have the ability to possess if you would like to.
Yes, I would love to.
Which one? The one that is currently hanging from the ceiling, the one with all the glass and shit embedded in him, or the one that currently has wires wrapped around his ocular nerves, bulging his eyes from his body?
I will take the one with the glass.
All right. Go ahead and... this one's dead, so I guess you don't even need to roll plus strange.
May I do something before he pops into the frame?
Sure.
Because it's gonna get busy when he comes in. Prophet will regard William and say,
Simplistic, blunt, almost merciful.
if William will allow, she will reach up and trace her fingers across the cheek of his mask.
I
But,
will allow it.
But oh so promising. The one I speak to would be very interested in you.
And anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted. Continue.
And in that very moment, the one that had its face kind of eviscerated by glass and crushed by the hands of William sits up. Ancient One, you are now in control of a man by the name of Billy Bunkin.
I want to do the lurching up where my body kind of lifts its center of mass up to its feet and just kind of like feel my skin as I'm like enjoying my new flesh prison. And I take a piece of glass out and lick it, the blood clean from it.
So one of those bodies just happened to sit right back up in front of you. By the way, Ancient One, go ahead and buff your body stat by 1 and your wit stat by 1 as well. Just gotta click the little up arrow by it, since now you have a physical body.
This one has longed to be in flesh.
I assume we hear that.
Yes, it is now speaking.
And you said something, a person rose up in front of me?
No, that's you. You
Oh,
are that
oh.
person. You rose up in front of them.
I'm just feeling out my new fleshy body.
Prophet will sort of consider him for a second, and then she'll raise her hand, and she wants to drive a single wire into his thigh.
Is that something the Ancient One will allow or attempt to avoid?
No,
All right.
I'm too into what I'm doing.
If that's the case, then a wire will be driven into your hip. By the way, give yourself 5 armor, because that will represent the health of this body.
Oh, goodness. I didn't realize I was going to take health. I'm sorry.
That doesn't matter. You can take another one.
There's more where that came from.
As a wire kind of like shoots its way through your flesh and kind of like wraps its way around, you feel like you feel a slight tug on the side there. It's to you, the human pain is actually kind of a tickle.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to check. As I do it, I want to read him with my empath ability.
Like, it hurts, but to you, like, pain has very little meaning.
Oh, it's been so long since I felt this sensation.
And do I get that with my empath ability, or do I get roll strange?
Are you trying to actually get a read on the Ancient One?
Basically, what I'm doing is I assume I sense there's something off about this human that's just come back to life. I'm basically testing. I drove a wire through him because I want to test the reaction I get.
So I'll say this. As you attempt to get a read on him, you're getting what to you is kind of the equivalent of static. Kind of like dead air. What just this thing is kind of unreadable to you.
Does that upset me, or is that to disturb me or anything?
You tell me.
Oh, fair enough. Hmm. She wouldn't exactly frown per se, but she will retract the wire.
And with a
You're
little
on a
split,
different-
with a little split of blood, the wire snaps back out of you.
Different threshold, I see.
Oh, I was just beginning to like that.
The last remaining living body on the ground is still somehow conscious due to all the pain it is in.
Wait, the one I sent the wire through?
The one that has the wire in it. You tend not to try to kill, if I am correct.
Oh, that's true.
But there is one other thing that kind of catches your eye as you look back that way, and that is the query array. The very vessel that brought you into this world, Prophet. It sits currently in the pool of blood that's trickling out of this man.
I will reach down, take it in my hand, and sort of clasp my fingers around it.
You know that this item is your anchor in this world. Should this item be either solved by somebody who knows what they're doing or destroyed, you would be shunted back to your sanctum. It is your bridge between here and there, which is why you have armor instead of health.
I'm afraid you're not ready for this. Maybe next time.
You can, however, use it as a bridge to suck victims into your realm. New initiates.
Oh, right. Yeah, do that. That sounds great.
And as it kind of ticks and turns and whirs, a portal begins to open, and chains and wires begin to drag that body back into your realm. And you see a pallid hand reach out and grab him by the top of the head and slowly drag him in as the portal once again constricts and closes. For a brief moment, Ancient One and William, you can hear the deafening screams of the choir within the prophet's sanctum.
Another voice, another lamb, as all should be.
The one thing bothering you presently, Ancient One, is there's no sign of that book. The one thing that can bind you to your realm, the one thing that you, if you have it, you can freely reign here for as long as you damn well please.
Wire Lady, where did that book go? I require it.
Another one has it.
Very insightful, of course.
Do we have I don't know, do we have a bead on where that guy went? Can I still sense him?
You know that they were out in the hall. You never actually saw the person who took this time. This is a mysterious fourth person, as opposed to the three that are, one that is dead and possessed, and one that is now among your flock.
Isn't it fun that I have technically the most merciful way of dropping people?
I did have a lot of amusement in my mind when you told me what you wanted to play, and I heard what everybody else wanted. I'm like, oh man, he's gonna be the nice one.
I'm not mean. I'm just
No. You're doing
business.
everything. You're doing everything you believe you need to do that will help them understand. But to them, it's pretty
meanness.
fucking mean.
It literally is. It's not meanness. It's just business.
Yeah.
Hashtag nice guy Myers.
Good old Mikey My. But yes, Prophet, last time you heard that book went clattering out into the hallway after you began to deglove the man that is still hanging from the ceiling.
Would I have any interest in this book?
You possibly not, other than it being a curiosity of this new being that just showed up. But who knows?
Your book gets farther away by the minute.
Tell you what, you help me get that book, I don't swallow your soul whole.
Tilts her head.
I wonder if you could. I'd actually be interested to see you try.
I am but one. There are many like me, if given
And-
the chance.
And I serve one who is more than many would ever be.
I will look at both of them and I will point down the hallway.
Thank you, Silent One.
Agreed.
At least somebody's willing to help.
I didn't say that,
Well,
but I am curious. So let's proceed.
yes, this one hungers.
You begin to make your way out into the facility. You see these very dark gray corridors as you walk through this facility. You'd appear to be in what appears to be like a very high security area, as there are cameras everywhere. But they all appear to be kind of like drooped in sort of a down position. You're not sure if they're active, nor am I positive how many of you actually know what kind of technology this is. But as you walk through these hallways, you can't help but feel this sort of eerie quietness around you. This kind of like decadent, or this effervescent hum kind of echoes through the walls.
This hum is maddening. I miss the screams.
They're always there. If you know how to listen.
I prefer to make them.
You see at the...
I'm not opposed to that.
You see at the end of this hall a what looks to be a set of shuttered double doors. Looks to be like very heavy, thick steel. And some sort of device by the side of it. Looks to be some sort of like a pin pad or a card reader.
I want to try and brute force my way through and lift it.
All right. Your current physical body is not particularly strong, but go ahead and give me a roll plus body.
Apparently it is.
Not without doing some damage to your body. With this kind of otherworldly force that you're able to kind of eke out of this thing's muscles. You can hear the snapping and shuddering of tendons as you kind of grip your fingers between the two doors, and you begin to pull and pull. You see the fingers as they kind of snap back. The blood on the hands just begins to kind of like pop. And as you push it open, it just... And every sinew and muscle in that arm just kind of flares out and pops and snaps. I do want you to take away that +1 as you just kind of destroyed the physical meat body that you were just using to do this. But the doors are forced open by using this body to its limit.
Could I do something?
Sure.
Seeing his arm is useless, I'd like to use my wires and make him sort of a wire cast.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll plus strange to see how this plays out.
Sure. 7.
As you use your wires to try to knit and sew what bits and pieces of his arms back together to try to hold them, it does stop the body from deteriorating, but it will not replenish the damage that was done. The arms are still functional. He can still use them, but that's also... he's also able to animate. Essentially, if this thing was a skeleton, he'd still be able to animate it, but you now have some sick-looking metal wire lashes around you. You do, however, lose 1 point of armor in this process.
Ah, thank you. And I would like to eat one of my broken fingers off one of my hands.
As it kind of dangles down, it looks very appetizing to you, so you just go down and you just kind of snap it off, biting it like a baby carrot and chewing it. It's a very pleasant, coppery taste as you chew.
Flesh.
Don't waste my gift. I'm interested to see your work.
Of course. After you, as I hold open the door.
Ahead of you is a shaft. Just a empty, what appears to be elevator shaft. After you.
Oh. I was about to ask if there was a ladder, and then I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about? Cenobite ain't gonna use no fucking ladder.
I think they float mostly.
Gosh, Cenobites usually appear and disappear just by some weird electrical stuff. Can I just do that down to the bottom?
You can, there is a strangeness to this place. You can, yes, you can go either up or down. But there appears to be 1 floor beneath you and several floors above you. You can, much like the ancient one noticed previously, there is sort of like a weird interference in this place where you could normally just kind of pop into your sanctum and then pop out kind of at will so long as the sphere was nearby. You can only really do this in, I'd say, kind of like a 10 to 15 foot range at the moment.
Alright, can I use my wires kind of like a spider leg sort of thing and crawl down?
Absolutely.
I'll do that.
You attach your wires to the bottom of this frame and just slowly, like a puppet, just sort of lower yourself down. And you slide your way down to the bottom of the shaft. Here, there is another set of those double doors.
Are there cables or service ladder in this elevator shaft?
Appears to be neither. It's strange. It's very smooth and cylindrical.
Hell with it. I will shoot a bunch of wires back up to the top, like in the form of a cable. And sort of, if William is looking at me, I will nod to him.
I will grab a cable and write it down.
Kind of wrap them in a bit of a tether. You just
I will follow
grab it
suit.
and kind of ride it like a steel-binded rope as you slide your way back down to the bottom level. Again, there's another pair of doors here, but on this side of the door, there does appear to be kind of like a security latch that you can slap it, and then it'll open the doors. And as you open it up, you find yourself in a very musty sort of area. There's kind of a very permeable humidity to the air, and you can hear that humming a bit louder, followed further by like a bit of shuddering.
The hell do they keep down here?
What do I sense emotionally, if there's anything to sense?
Around you, go ahead and give me a roll plus strange to see if you can get a sense of if there's any people nearby.
That's 12.
With a 12, you sense some impatience up ahead. And some boredom in a nearby room. And what seems to be somebody sleeping also in a nearby room. Down this hallway,
And these are all
there
humans?
appear to be. Typical normal mortal thought patterns.
More initiates.
I will go in the direction of the closest one I sense.
All right, as you make your way to this small room that's kind of to the left in this hallway, this one is the one that appears to be like very bored, and it's very close to the one that's sleeping. They're just beyond what appears to be kind of like a slat gray steel door.
That door look like it's locked, or?
It's got an interesting handle to it. It kind of looks like one of those kind of pull door handles on like a store, but it's got like kind of like a hook around it, and on the inside of it there's a handle that you pull. But doesn't look locked.
And you said there's a guy in there awake and a guy asleep?
Seems that way. As far as
And
you
is
can-
there
as
any
far as you can
windows or
tell.
anything to this room?
Not from here.
Stand back, sister. I want to taste. And I want to pull like one of the larger shards of glass out of me to go and stab the guy in the throat that's awake.
Door is still closed.
Damn. Ah, shit, that's right.
The hell with it. I'll reach out a tendril of wires and just fucking open that door.
All right, you wrap the wires around this little handle, and sure enough, by tightening them enough, you can get it to click, and you pull it open with the wires, and kind of a younger man looks over. What's going on? Is it my turn for what the fuck?
And is there another guy in there asleep, you said?
Not for long, as that scream starts to wake him up.
Immediately I will send out wires to the sleeping one and restrain him.
Roll plus strange.
Okay. 10.
As he begins to sit up, wires kind of reach their way out of the bed and start wrapping them around him almost like a mummy and pulling him back down to the mattress.
I will look to our, the Ancient One. Show me.
I'm going.
My pleasure.
I'm gonna stand in the hallway and just stare at the guy who's screaming, "What the fuck?"
William is so patient and sweet. He's a good boy.
Michael's a good boy.
He's a good boy!
He's a good boy.
Michael's a good boy.
I'm actually going to use my entire body as a weapon and run and basically jump and glomp onto the guy that's still awake, using the shards of glass as a weapon as I'm going to sink my teeth into his flesh.
Go ahead and give me that roll plus body.
9.
You're able to jump up and start to get at him as this man pulls something from his belt, and you feel this searing, red-hot pain as both Prophet and William, you see this kind of like red flash of light as this beam just sort of cuts its way through the midsection of the Ancient One's body as you land on him, kind of smothering his face with this glass. You lose another 3 points of your armor.
I'll swallow your soul.
His face is now embedded with the glass that is currently protruding from your face. He's starting to go into shock. He's essentially defenseless right now, but go ahead and give me a roll plus strange.
As he does this, I want to make it so the guy on the mattress, I want to turn his head so he can watch this.
That's
14.
easy enough. The wires begin to crank and turn as they begin to pull this man's head to the side to a very uncomfortable degree. You can hear popping of the sinews in his neck as the wires tighten and turn. As you kind of grab this man by the skull, headbutt him, you open your mouth, and from this whirling vortex within you, you begin to rip at this man's flesh. And as his soul begins to leave his body, you kind of grab it and suck it into your mouth, and you consume it. The man on the bed just struggles.
Shh. I turn back.
I understand. That's enough horrors for you to see in one day.
And I will take two wires and pluck out his eyeballs.
And he goes into shock.
Elevates the senses for what's to come.
And I will take my fun little doodad and open up the portal and send my master another lamb.
You see the light as it begins to ebb out of the bed itself, and the wires begin to pull him down into your sanctum.
Enjoy the journey.
Ancient One, as you stand up, your entrails kind of flop to the ground.
Oh, that's a shame. I was just having fun with this body.
You notice that in the man's hand there appears to be a very interesting looking device. It's just a simple box. Well, it kind of looks like two boxes attached to each other. One with like what looks to be several LED lights on the end of it, and the other one with like kind of a harness and a trigger.
Huh. Interesting. Would I possibly be able to unpossess this body and take that one instead?
Oh, of
the
course.
healthier one.
Yeah, no problem there.
I'm gonna go out with style and like grab the top of my head and like cut deep into my throat as I collapse to the ground and possess the other body.
Sure thing. Goodbye, Billy Bunkin.
Billy Bumpkin. Ah.
Hello, Josiah Stain.
Father of 2 days away from retirement.
By the way, information you might have gotten from Billy Bunkin's souls. Give me a roll plus strange before you leave.
Yep. That is a 10.
This guy came here looking for your book. He was here specifically to find it and get it to somebody. Very specifically, there are a few phrases that you're kind of able to eke out of this man before you leave his soul and consume it for the void. You have what is essentially 6 in-game hours to get to a particular meeting point on the 5th level, which will present a portal once you quote unquote are free from the dark.
Well, I happen to know where my book is.
Further, Josiah Stain here. You don't get any pluses to your body. He's a very frail person, but you do get +2 to wits. As in, that'll be like your total bonus is +2. And +2 to smarts. He's an engineer.
Nice.
I also pick up that fancy little device he cut my entrails with and start playing with it.
It's a plasma cutter.
Fun.
And as you kind of like fire it around, you notice that it takes a couple of shots, but it can cut through steel pretty easily. Obviously, it cuts very well through flesh as you look back down to your old body and just start to kind of cut it into pieces with it.
Yep.
Just imagine it's just like, just like flailing the sword back and forth over the body. Like, this is fun.
Yeah,
I could do this all day.
It fires out. I mean, the obvious inspiration for it is the Dead Space arc cutter, but it would only take like you probably a few minutes to turn that old body of yours that you were just wearing like a meat suit into pudding if you just kept shooting it.
Well.
I will look towards William and step out and regard him.
William, before that happens, you do hear kind of a clattering coming from down the hall. You hear like the steam of something kicking up as a kind of like a hatch on a door opens. You hear the kind of like the thundering of engines as a face looks out. What the hell's going on? What was all that scream? And he sees you, William, this kind of shaggy, dark-haired man. He kind of makes eye contact with you for a moment. And he slowly starts to back into the doorway he came out of.
I will nod toward the prophet and then back towards the steam.
Is he yours?
I shake my head no. And I walk casually toward it wearing a blue, those blue speed suits, you know, like those suits that like mechanics and whatnot wear.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He starts
So you're not gonna go for that guy?
Oh, I am.
He's starting to
I'm
try
going
to show.
moves toward that man.
Well, that's what she was asking. She basically was like, "You want that one?"
I do.
Who's a good boy?
Do
you want that guy? Go get that guy.
You would, yeah. He's your buddy.
Oh, hello, Selena. You here for this? He starts to try to pull that heavy door shut before you can get to it and get to him. Go ahead and give me a roll plus body to beat him there.
12.
As he's trying to pull this door shut, he thinks he's home free. This door is very thick and very heavy, but you're able to kind of like get your arm in the way and pry it open, kind of prying him back out into the hallway. Shit! He starts to fumble at his belt, looking for like a tool of some sort.
I am going to... Do I got him by the shirt?
You have the door, and he was holding onto the door.
All right.
You stopped him from closing the door, essentially.
I'm going to grab the man, and you'll like this scene. This is a throwback from Jason 2. I'm going to pull him against the door and just crack him until he dies.
All right. Give me a roll plus body for that.
That's a 12.
He starts to reach for his belt, and you can see that he's trying to fumble for some sort of a communication device as you grab him before he can get to it. You pull him halfway out the door, and you start... This door is real heavy. Like this, if it was off his hinges, probably weighs like 400 pounds. You start to slam, Slam! As his face slowly gets more and more concave, his eye begins to pop out of its socket, and then with one final guttural boom, you basically turn this man into a Pez dispenser with this door.
Hey, well, okay, full disclosure, on my desk when I stream, I like having some sugar because it keeps me awake. I have a Pez dispenser. I will never look at my Garfield Pez dispenser the same way again.
You should see if we can get you a Michael Pez dispenser
There
in
you
that
go.
case.
Is
Yeah.
there a Michael's Pez
There
dispenser?
might
There
be.
has-
You know
there
what?
have-
I'm
there's
gonna look that up
everything Pez
right now.
dispensers.
Pez dispenser of everything.
I would
Horror-
love
I'm
a
gonna look
Michael
horror-
Pez dispenser.
Horror Monster Pez dispensers. Let's see what this. Let's see if we get something here.
But yeah, you,
I mean,
you
that's-
Yeah,
smashed
oh my god! There is! There is!
right away. Wow.
There's a
Wow.
pinhead one too!
Oh, perfect.
That's rad.
We can
This
get
makes
the
me
set.
happy.
So yeah, once I realize he's not struggling anymore, I will drop him and I will push the door open.
Inside, you see what looks to be a very oddly clean-looking boiler room kind of situation. Like there are generators, pistons humming everywhere. You can hear the hiss of various steams and fluids running through pipes in this area, and a massive board along the wall where this guy apparently had a desk with lots of lights flashing, most of them green.
I will casually walk and look to see if there's anything on the desk.
On the desk, there is a pornography magazine, a tablet with porn on it, and these guys are poor. And
There's a pattern here.
yeah, it's a very thin tablet, by the way. Like it's kind of paper thin and translucent, but there's definitely porn on it. And a lot of tissues. Mostly in boxes or in trash bins. There appears to be a tool belt by the side of this desk. And yeah, I will say if you did, like, essentially you would not have been dressed in your little speed suit getting out of there. You've kind of been like in kind of doctor-patient rags for now. But this man
Okay, I'll wear my-
this man is wearing a boiler suit.
I'm going to wear his boiler suit.
Well, there you go. Now your costume is complete.
There you go. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Michael had to get that every time. He had to kill a lot of mechanics to get those.
That was always a problem. That was always a problem profession for a while.
Yeah.
So I will slip into that, and then I will look at his communication thing with just kind of just a half tilt, just seeing what it is.
Give me a roll plus smarts.
12.
Wow, he's a smart boy.
That's
This
312.
communication device is nothing like you have seen before. I mean, you can tell it's a communication device because there's like a little part that you talk into, like that little frilly bit at the end, and there appears to be like a little speaker bit on the bottom, but it doesn't look like a walkie-talkie. It's very small and compact. There's just a single, like there are a couple of buttons on it, one that appears to be a transmitter and one that appears to do something else, but it's very different from communication devices that you remember, especially like the cops using back in the day.
I will crouch while I'm looking at it, and I will press some buttons to see if anybody talks through it.
Press the communicator, kind of click a hiss, click a hiss. A few moments later, Kobe, is that you? Stop fucking around on the line. Is there a problem down there or what?
I'm gonna take it and reply back. No problems here. Sorry, misclicks. In like a completely normal voice.
Give me a roll plus charm.
You're not charming at all.
Josiah,
They
what
can
the
smell
fuck?
the
It's not.
demon.
Yeah, you got a 6. Josiah, what the fuck? It's not your shift. What's going on down there?
I'm just gonna leave it. What should I do? Ah,
I'm sending somebody to check it out. Don't
I'm gonna-
move.
I'm
We're
gonna
on
stash
thin ice
radio.
already. There better not be porn, I swear to God.
I'm gonna look at William. You, beside the door. Wait for him to come in.
I will wordlessly go to the door.
I'll go to the door too.
And I'm
No.
gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Sorry.
Do you want to go ahead?
You go ahead. Actually.
Again, she's just sort of eyeballing William, and she sort of asks,
What is it you seek? What desires are inside you?
I will stare at her with my eyes behind my mask.
"Can I roll to see what I sense?"
Go for it.
Yay! That's strange, right?
Yee.
Eh. That is. Look at
That
that!
is-
Look
That is
at
a
fucking
double
perfect
6.
roll!
Hot damn.
Look at a fucking perfect roll!
Hot diggity dog.
All right. First of all, go ahead and say what your surface level thoughts are. Just like your surface level emotions and feelings right now, if you have any.
There's a lot of anime ellipses.
Standard
there-
squall response.
God, I love Nate.
Any chance I
And-
got to answer with ellipses, that's it. Just like bop, true silent
Bop.
protagonist.
A lot of silence. Then there is there is a single word that is just Azathoth.
Do I know that word?
Azathoth?
Azathoth.
Yeah.
It's a, if I'm correct, it's just that's a demon, right?
That is the Lovecraftian major deity of destruction.
That was it.
Oh, Rabbit, I do. You could go Lovecraft. I do. So good, so good.
You know what I love.
Further, one thing you do notice is that beyond those eyes, the eyes so dark that they hold no light themselves, you sense this, you sense pretty much all of that, and this feeling that he is a consumer of life.
What is this creature to my master?
To your master, a lot of the ancient elder beings, I guess to this one, your master would be somewhat, almost kind of enrivaled by, as your master seeks to truly expand the realms of sensation. This one seeks to destroy and consume. There's almost kind of like a kind of a rivalry there, maybe a friendly rivalry of sorts, as there are still some tacit relations there, but
What does tacit mean?
thinly veiled connections.
So they're kind of like frenemies, basically?
Kind of, yeah. Think of it kind of like the Greek god pantheon, where each of them kind of respected each other, but they a lot of them kind of connived behind each other's backs a lot of the time. You two might just be the avatars of different gods, if that makes sense.
She nods.
I see you, cousin.
As they're moving to their positions, I'm gonna lay on the floor next to the corpse
You hear from the end of the hall a ding, as the doors slide open and a few heavy boot prints fall out. All right, what's going on? Oh, fuck, the door's wide open. Start to walk in, and three very like burly looking security men dressed all in dark attire, very similar to the attire of the first man you took over there, Ancient One. Okay, what are you guys doing? Holy shit. Oh my god, call it in. And he starts to like motion, the leader one starts to motion to one of the men behind him, who starts going for a communicator.
I would like to lurch up and shoot that hand with the plasma cutter.
The one that's going for the communicator?
Yes.
Alright, give me a roll plus wits. Or a roll plus body. It would be body for this.
7.
You kind of lurch up, and holy shit! You fire at the hand that's reaching for the communicator. You manage to singe his fingers, getting him to drop the communicator for a while. Not quite getting a full clean hit on the hand. What the shit? I thought you were dead! What was that? Would either of the other two like to make any moves at this point?
You said he's got 2 other guys with him?
Yes, there's the one in the lead who's standing right in the doorway. The one closest to the Ancient One who just reached for his communicator. And now the one that's sort of like flanking the other side of the leader who's reaching for his sidearm.
I'm gonna... Wire time! I'm going to wrap it so that basically that gun is just attached to his hand. It's like wrapped up so hard, tightly.
Ooh, I like that. Go ahead and give me a roll plus strange.
That is a 13.
Sarah with the hot rolls tonight. As he reaches down and grabs his gun, from the very inside of his suit and the gun itself, the metal begins to stretch out and weave its way into his hand, kind of attaching his hand to the side of his leg and the gun at the same time. Oh, sir! Sir, what the fuck is happening right now? He looks to the side, notices what's happening, looks up, and gets a glance at William and the Prophet. Oh shit, this is a code black. He starts to reach for his communicator.
I will grab his arm with the communicator and I will tear it off his body.
Alrighty, go ahead and give me a roll plus body.
It's a 13.
Damn.
As he reaches down for his communicator, you walk up, you grab his arm, you twist it around, break it at the elbow, and then bring your knife up and lob off his arm at the shoulder. Oh, fuck! He collapses down to the ground in shock as the pool of blood begins to pool around him.
This would be the coolest short film.
That's one of the reasons I really like doing these, frankly. As he begins to bleed out on the ground, the man who dropped his communicator is now frantically trying to pick it up, as the man who's got his hand stuck to his gun is now really trying to weigh his options. He's panicking.
I'm gonna run ahead and dive on the guy reaching for the communicator.
Yeah, you go first. I want to think about how to play.
Go ahead and give me a roll plus body, Ancient One. Your
5.
new body is significantly smaller and weaker, so as you lunge for this very large security official, he kind of lifts up his boot and kind of kicks you square in the face, breaking and shattering the front of your face and nose. As he grabs his communicator and starts to run, he presses down a button. Code black! I repeat, we've got a code black! Code black!
Glances over. Would you like me to get him as well?
Please.
I will do so. He's got the communicator up to his mouth.
Yes, he's currently screaming into it. Code black. I repeat,
Yeah,
code black.
I'm just gonna wrap wires around his face, completely obscuring his mouth and his just everything.
Go for it.
Like his hand is going to be caught up next to his face.
Roll your strange.
11.
And once again, wires begin to protrude out of this microphone, piercing his fingers and wrapping his way through his cheeks. Code black! as the microphone shatters in his hands, as these wires begin to wrap around his hands through his face, and his hand is being slowly sewn to his face and constricted by these wires as he begins to slowly grab and rend at his own cheeks.
I will drag him back.
The wires begin to slowly reel him back to you.
I will look to the one I started with and cock my head and be like,
We should balance you out a bit.
Please
I want to do the same thing with his other arm. And then I want to basically make it so, you know how if you kneel, you can sort of like, if you were to kneel and like, if you could get the bottoms of your sole up against your thigh.
I'm familiar.
I want to
with
do
this
that
stretch.
to his legs.
All right.
Basically, I want to hog tie this guy, but it's basically sewing him together.
All right. Another roll plus strange.
Sure thing. As a
God damn, Sarah. God damn.
God!
So these wires once again begin to like stretch their way out, and from his flesh they begin to rip through his arms and start to tie them down to his sides. The wires pierce through his Achilles tendons and start to reach up towards the back of his gluteus muscles, and they start to like rip through there, tearing through slowly in a corkscrew fashion, going higher and higher up to his calves, to his knees, and then they begin to tighten as they pull him back down to the ground as he sits in this very, very crude and horrific hero's pose. Stop, please! Please,
As a final thing, I would like to make it so the back of his head is sewn to the back, as far back as you can put your head without breaking your neck, basically. Because you can't lower your head back and touch the back of your shoulders a tiny bit.
And the wires that were going up his legs slowly eke up his spine, wrapping around every column. You can hear it kind of snap and pop as it does so, as the wire reaches up and around the back of his neck and pulls his head back.
I suppose I can't add a bow, but it's hardly necessary.
Open portal, send that one through.
Why are you doing this? No! As the hands reach out and they begin to grab him and start to pull him back through. No!
The why doesn't matter. At least not anymore.
Turns to our friend, the ancient one. I believe this is yours. As she pulls the other one back in and sort of just slams them against the wall.
Thank you. As I'm gonna sink my fingers into his neck like little daggers and like sort of bleed the life out of him.
Through the speakers above you, you begin to hear, through one of the communicators that's still left working around, you hear a voice crackle through. Did I hear you right? Code Black? Please respond.
I'm gonna transfer my soul to this new body that I just killed.
As he does, I will unwrap his face so he can talk. Probably a few teeth hanging out, though.
And I spit out the teeth on the floor.
All right, with this guy, you will lose your smarts. You gain +2 body, +1 wits. Please respond.
I pick up the one radio that's working. Sorry, false alarm. It was just a couple rats.
Roll plus charm.
Oh.
You are so much charming. You're just doing it with that freaking like Evil Dead voice. You're just saying it with an Evil Dead voice.
So essentially, as you're saying this, with this face that just got like ripped to pieces, you walk up to it. No, I'm sorry. It was just a couple rats.
Just like one of those awful lines too. It's like you got Tourette's. Like, I'll screw your mother in hell. I mean, everything's fine.
So as you try in your best human language voice to communicate, You get in response. What's the code phrase?
I'm gonna search this guy's brain.
Give me a roll plus smarts.
Nine.
It's some sort of feathered animal in a color.
A feathered animal in a what?
A color.
Oh, damn.
A dark color. It's a cool color.
Do you want to workshop this with us?
I was thinking like Black Raven or something.
I was just thinking Black Raven.
I was gonna say black bird or just bird black, but yeah, maybe.
Well, I'm gonna go with it unless you guys can think of.
As good as guess as I can think of.
It's not purple peacock, I'll tell you that much.
Tie dye? Tie dyes are cool.
The code is Black Raven.
You hear a hiss on the other side. And then a sound of blaring klaxons.
Shit.
All staff evacuate. All staff evacuate. Code Black has been initiated. Initiate Titanfall.
Oh,
And
yeah,
here is where
yeah,
we'll
this
take a
was
break. Hey guys, Lanny here. I just wanted to thank you for rolling with us. And if you wanted to catch us live, you can do so almost every Monday at 5 o'clock Central Time over on twitch.tv/LannyPator. Now, back to the show. As the klaxons blare around you, you now know that essentially your cover's been blown. And something bad is going to happen. How long that will take, who knows? But Ancient One, you know that your book is up on the 5th floor somewhere, and you guys are currently on floor 1, essentially.
Elevators. We must get to them.
Do I sense like just more? I imagine this is gonna make everyone a lot more tense and just like yay.
What are you asking?
Do I sense heightened emotions from this thing from the humans around?
The humans are all dead, I think.
Oh, I only have a certain range.
Yeah, the humans currently around you are dead. But there is a
This will-
palpable anxiety in the air.
This will ripen the flock. Let's proceed.
I will lean down to the security people, and if they have any other knives, I will take them. So I will have more than one knife.
Let's see what you find. Give me a roll plus wits just to see.
That's neat.
You can find there are a few like smaller knives among them. The one you found happened to be from a guy that was really overcompensating for something. You also
Perfect,
find on the tool belt that was left by all the porn. There is a series of tools, including what appears to be like some sort of like a moldable screwdriver that'll flip to either flathead or Phillips head or whatever it needs. Seems to have kind of like a tip at the end of it that will divine itself into any little bit that it goes into, and a very large monkey wrench.
I will take these things.
All right. So you make your way to the elevators.
Yes.
Inside of the elevator, there's a series of buttons indicating what floors to go to, and there's a little card reader by the side. Luckily, as you have now taken the guise of a security officer, you do have a security badge on you.
Yeah, I stick the card in the card reader and press 5th floor.
As you press your card to the door, you get a
The hell?
Unfortunately,
I
it
tried.
seems as you try it again.
Useless human technology.
I will
That-
look to my left and right and see if there's any stairs or even a vent I can crawl through.
Give me a roll plus wits there, William.
It's 9.
As you glance around looking for something to work with, there does appear to be an access hatch that you can get through near the... as you kind of like walk around the area as the Ancient One is kind of flailing around with this human tech. You do find an access hatch at the back of the kind of engine room sort of thing that you're in.
Ooh. A
And
killer
it
could
does
definitely use
it does have a ladder in it.
that. I will go ahead and crack open that access hatch.
Sure enough, there's a ladder that leads upwards and a series of ducts that seem to go behind all of this machinery and upwards into this space. It seems to go up quite a ways. Definitely further past the floor above you.
I will just point toward the ladder, and I will crawl into those access hatches.
All right.
I want to worm around the vents.
Sure thing. Begin crawling your way through. Anybody else following suit?
I give up in frustration and start following him.
Yeah, it appears that after your communications, your whatever team was sent down here was considered compromised. So
So they just locked off the elevator, basically.
they, or at the very least, they locked off access to the security protocol, the security officers that went down here. Code Black must be very restrictive.
Yeah, fair enough.
Smart choice.
Prophet is not going to go into this duct like a plebeian, mind you. All the wires around her are going to suddenly, like, it's like a bunch more appear and they, like, wrap around her like a cocoon, and that cocoon can sort of crawl through like a amorphous insect.
Yeah, chittering your way through the vents directly behind William. You can hear the skittering and shrieking of wires against some cold metal. And Ancient One, are you going to continue traveling in your corporeal flesh prison?
Yes, I am. I'm going to keep it. I have an idea.
Okay. You crawl up the ladder behind him. As William, you are leading the way. Are you attempting to get to where the Ancient One wishes to go, or do you have your own objective?
Are you asking me if I have an objective?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and try to crawl up, because up seems to be the way to go. And if there's anybody below me through any access hatches, I'm going to watch them and see what they do. And if they're cut off, I'm gonna bust down there and I'm gonna grab one of them and pull them into the vent and kill them.
Sounds fun.
Stealth kill.
But I guess my overall question is, are you going to attempt to head to where the Ancient One wants to go, or are you just going wherever the fuck you please?
I'll regard him.
Okay.
I am slightly curious about this, so I will crawl up to the 5th.
Then give me a roll plus wits to try to keep your head about you as to where you are going.
Yes. 12.
Well, you seem to kind of have a knack for navigating this space. Luckily, it looks like a couple of the people that came before you were smart enough to kind of print into the metal on the side like a couple of grooves in Roman numeral as to which floor you were up to. So as you make your way up to the V, you find an access hatch and you kind of slide it out of the way, and you had this little crawl space to crawl behind the walls to work on whatever machinery. Well, the crew would normally work on whatever machinery is back here, but now you have a space to crawl in to find, hopefully, an access point into the 5th floor. And as you crawl through, surely enough, you hear a lot of panicking voices as this appears to be kind of a dormitory section of whatever the fuck kind of place you're in. and there are people kind of like skittering about, and you manage to crawl around just looking for a space, and you find in a lone empty dormitory just one young brown-haired woman just kind of standing trying to figure out what it is she needs to pack and put away, kind of standing with her back to this ceiling vent.
I look at the both of them.
William is the only one that can see this right now, as he is ahead of all of you in this single file procession.
I will stare at them for a second from the vent. And
Give me a
then-
roll plus wits for stealth purposes real quick.
You got it. 11.
Noise.
Damn.
You stare from the vent, your face barely visible through the slats beneath, but she never looks up and never notices you.
Ah. I learned this trick from a Gaijin video. I'm going to go ahead and, once I realize that she is completely free, I'm going to go ahead and pop the vent and crash upon her and drive my knife into her heart.
All right, give me a roll plus body, and you can re-roll the lowest number if unnecessary. As she just kind of like looks down at what looks to be like a picture of what seems to be her and somebody else. She wipes a tear from her eye and then slowly sees in the reflection of that picture as you pop open the hatch. She looks around and turns in horror as you dive down, pin her to the ground, and slam the knife into her chest. She grabs at the knife, coughs up some blood. The light of the life begins to ease from her eyes as the horror, the pain, the fear all drift. And she becomes nothing. Void once more.
I will toss the body to one side, and I will stare at the door and then look up toward the vent.
Screech of wires and stuff comes out like imagine one of those like spider cocoons bursting open. Like all the wires come down and then unveil the prophet as she lets them retract.
As the weave of wires lets you gently proceed down, they slowly zip their way back into your body and tighten once again. You feel that popping sensation as they constrict your organs and flesh.
I plop down out of the vent and immediately start the process of leaving this body to inhabit that one.
You inhabit the body of Jillian Holbeck. She came up here as a researcher. You have a body score of 0 now, wits of 1, smarts of 2.
And I'm going to immediately stuff the wound so it stops bleeding and change into clothes that she has.
All right, you kind of like hold things up to a mirror as the klaxons continue to blare around you. Give me a roll plus smarts.
You got it.
It should be plus 2 now, so that would be
Oh,
a
whoops,
12.
sorry.
Still, no worries. Still a success. You're able to stop the bleeding, and you put on some dark-colored turtleneck, so that whatever blood is there won't be seen through, and you are now significantly less physically marred.
I feel beautiful as I flip my hair back.
Vanity is such a curious thing to feel.
Silence.
Give me a roll plus strange there, Ancient One.
Oof.
The book is here somewhere, but there's so much anxiety and emotion around that you can't quite get a sense as to what direction you need to go.
It's
Can
here.
I sense, is there anyone in particular who has different anxiety as opposed to everyone else's?
A good thought. Give me a roll plus strange. There are a lot of people on this floor, or at the very least more people than usual.
That's an 8.
Yeah, just through all of the weaving thoughts and minds, there are a lot of different types of anxiety going on. There's the, oh my god, I don't want to die anxiety. What is happening? Oh my god, are we really about to crash? All sorts of things are going through people's minds. But there is one fleeting thought for a moment that's like, Jesus Christ, I got to get this thing out of here. What have I gotten myself into? And for just a moment, you catch that fleeting thought, so...
Do I know what direction it's coming from?
Out in the hallway, and then straight on, kind of like towards the flow of where a lot of these people are heading, it seems. These people are kind of being corralled, it seems like.
They're with others. Not that that's a problem. In fact, it's a calling.
Looks to everyone.
Shall we?
You give me that book, you can have all of them.
Enticing. We shall see.
I'm gonna casually stroll out in the hallway like I belong.
As you casually stroll out in the hallway, there are people like kind of like running by, bumping into you. At least like a couple stragglers that are still left, kind of heading down this hallway. It's a very pristine, like unlike these dark metal corridors that you've been used to traveling so far, this is all very pristine, white paneled halls. In fact, the illumination of these hallways seem to be coming from the panels on the walls themselves. The material that kind of makes up the ceiling and walls is luminescent. And it gives off this bright white glow, and you can see kind of at the center of the wall there is a series of red arrows that continue to cascade towards the center as the klaxon, a much lighter klaxon up here, this meet me, meet me, meet me. Please proceed to the gathering zone. Meet me, meet me, meet me. And all of these red arrows just kind of like slowly animate their way forward down the hallway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna roleplay this person, so I'm gonna follow instructions.
All right, you begin to make your way to the gathering zone.
Trying to figure out, have we followed, or do we need to go somewhere else? 'Cause I feel like people are going to notice me and William here.
Both you and William would very much be noticed.
The vents might lead somewhere, or might stay above the ceiling.
That is true. Though actually, only William will notice this. Would William be less conspicuous without his mask?
The question is, would William take off his mask?
That is another question.
He will not. This is my identity. This is how Universal makes money.
I'm not taking off the moneymaker. There's a reason we didn't describe the face, lady.
I will go ahead and soundlessly just crawl back into the vent.
Just for flavor's sake, and because I like H2O, despite it not being a particularly great movie, you do that Michael Myers one-arm pull-up back into it.
Yeah, no, that was sick. That was a sick scene.
Fucking love that shot.
Right?
I will less quietly, because of all the wires, just sort of shoot some wires up to the top of the vent, pull herself in, and, do as she does.
All right, and you guys kind of try to follow the action from the ventilation shaft, which is simple enough. These hatches seem to go almost everywhere. You notice that even in between the dorms, there's little divots that go down for you to work on machinery, for the crew to kind of like work on machinery in between rooms. There are like hubs of various wires and computer terminals everywhere here. So yeah, these shafts can kind of lead you wherever you need to go. Ancient One, Jillian, I'm sorry. As you travel down the hallway and get closer and closer to the gathering area, The gathering area appears to be a very wide open quad space at the very center of this dormitory area, with a big wide open skylight in the center. And for the first time, as you look up, you are greeted with the slightly awe-inspiring sight of not only a brilliant blanket of stars, but the giant orange gas giant of Saturn and the giant rocky surface of one of its moons beneath you.
Ooh.
You're now gathered in the center area with what seems to be at least 2 or 3 dozen researchers.
Do I see the book anywhere?
Go ahead and give me a roll plus wits.
Roll plus wits, you got it. That is a 12.
You start to make your way through the crowd, just kind of like looking for people, specifically like kind of like suspicious people. And inevitably, you do see one of those men in... he looks to be kind of wearing an overcoat, but you can see that kind of black tactical turtleneck beneath it. He looks very shady, and there is a bulge in the overcoat that looks about the size of a book. He's got blonde hair, very sharp features, kind of stubble kind of shave to him. And he's got like the eyes of a hawk. And while one hand is kind of like clasped around the coat, kind of like 2 fingers touching the book, he's got another one reaching around his back, kind of hand to a holstered weapon.
Does Jillian have any sort of personal relationship with him or any personal knowledge of him?
You don't know who the... Jillian doesn't know who the fuck this is.
Now, I'm just going to kind of move about the crowd and just kind of inch my way closer without trying to look suspicious.
Give me a roll plus wits for that. Or roll plus... Yeah, roll plus wits for that.
That is a 7.
All right. It takes you a while to kind of work your way in there. This guy's very much on his guard. A voice kind of comes over the intercom. Dormitories 7 through 15. Make your way to the terminal. 7 through 15. Have your identification ready. 7 through 15. And a little light kind of beams up over one of the 8 hallways leading out of this quad. And you can see some people start to shuffle that way.
Is this stubbled man moving?
Nope. She's kind of tapping his foot rapidly. He's very on edge. And as you get within about like 15 yards of him, you can see that he's actively kind of like moving his eyes about the crowd to see if there's anybody that's watching him. So I want you to make me another roll plus wits.
Oof.
Oh.
4.
You make eye contact. And you looked at him, and he looked at you, and you looked at him. And he gets a bad vibe, so he starts to make a fucking break for it.
I start breaking after him.
He starts to shove people through the crowd. He pulls from his belt the gun that you had always assumed had been there. He fires off some shots, causing a commotion. Go ahead and give me a roll plus body with this body.
7. That's better than I expected.
You're getting pushed back, but you're kind of able to like kind of hold your ground. You're not trampled by these people that are running away from the gunshots. But this guy is starting to gain ground on you.
Damn.
Meanwhile, William and the Ancient One, you've made
No,
your way to
I'm the
this...
prophet.
Oh, sorry. William and the Prophet. You guys have made your way to the central quad, and you now see this commotion as the gunshots fire off. You see people kind of scrambling. Give me a roll plus wits, either of you, to try to get a sense of the situation.
Either or both.
There's just a dozens of bodies just kind of like moving in formation right now, trying to get away from shots. Both of you plus wits.
It's my first failure.
Had to happen at some point. But you can't tell what the hell's going on. There's just like a bunch of people panicking and running around. You don't see what the big deal is. William, would you also like to try to read the situation?
I would like to try to read the situation. Yes.
Plus wits.
No problem, Theo. 7.
You get kind of a better read from this angle. You can see that there is one individual in particular that is running against the that's kind of like getting away from the crowd that people are running from. It's a man in a trench coat, dirty blonde hair, and you can see the Ancient One kind of being held back by this crowd that's running away from this man. Unfortunately, they are kind of opposite corner of the area from you.
They're so the guy with the book is on the opposite corner.
Seems that way, yes.
We need to do a little crowd clearing then, don't we? Lonnie,
Mm-hmm.
have you seen the beginning of that movie Ghost Ship?
I have.
I want to do that. I want to send a single wire, a very sharp wire though, a very strong wire, through the vent. I want to focus it down right about probably where most people's midsections are, and I want to rake it across the room.
All right, give me a roll plus strange.
That is an 8.
As an 8. All right. You begin to kind of protrude your wires outward. They begin to stretch across the vents and across the areas. You begin to kind of like slowly weave it and wrap it around poles that are meant to kind of look like old park lamps in the quad itself. By the way, it looks like a very lovely walking area. Like it's decorated to look like a old park somewhere on Earth, but that is hardly anybody's issue. As while you are wrapping these wires, the people running, you're not quite able to get it so that it will snap and just cleave this entire crowd. But the sheer crowd force of people running away and pushing people runs them into these wires and begins to split them and slice them. Now there is a massive crowd panic pushing back towards the other way as about 5 or 6 people towards each end running away. So about 8 to 10 people in total were just kind of cleaved by these wires being pressed by crowd force. And now everybody's trying to push the other way as this wire is either cutting people or people are starting to get crushed by this crowd. There's this massive panic as to which way people need to run, but people are dying here. Ancient One, this man is starting to gain ground on you. William, is there anything that you would like to do?
It's getting a little tight in this vent, so I'm going to go ahead and pour out of the vent since it's full of wire, and I'm going to go ahead and walk toward the man who is running.
All right, you make your way down to the ground and start to cut a swath through these people. Give me a roll plus body.
7.
It takes you a while. You're able to just, like, as you're walking, people that see you coming are, again, much like the wires that are cutting people, are trying to, like, push, like, get the fuck away from you. You are not good news. And those that get in your way, just bam, knife to the chest and flung. Bam, wrench to the skull. Bam, screwdriver to the eye. Bam, skull crushed. You are having a fucking field day. This is Christmas to you, as people are just getting pushed into you, and you are just rending them. And now people are trying to scramble away from you, but too little, too late. It is taking you a while. So, Ancient One, your two new companions here are having a field day killing off these people. William, at that end, is also getting kind of distracted by all the joy of this murder here. This man is closest to you, but he is gaining ground and is starting to make his way down a hallway. What do?
I'm still gonna try and force my way through the crowd.
All right, with your tiny body, you try to force your way through the crowd. Give me a roll plus body.
Still better than what I was expecting. 7.
He does make his way down the hallway by the time you're able to kind of clear the crowd and get out of there. So by the time you make it over to the hallway he's at, he is nowhere in eyesight.
I slam my fist in frustration against the sidewall. Damn it! I will swallow your soul! I yell down the hallway.
The lights in this room begin to turn red as enough commotion has happened that people realize there's shit going down here. Meanwhile, William and Prophet, you are both still very much having a field day, killing off these people.
Yeah, at this point, I've spilled out of the vent, like, and Lord help anybody I landed on. They immediately go to the Shadow Realm if I land in the cacophony of wires that come out of that vent.
Go ahead and give me another roll plus strange.
That's an 11.
And William, another roll plus body.
Got it. It's 9.
Together, you eviscerate over 3/4 of the bodies that were in this room. Together totaling a bit over 25 people, as the remainder have all begun to make a mad sprint towards the terminal area that has been slowly admitting other people. There is a mad, packed dash at this entrance complex over there as people are trying to like just shove their way through to get away from the monsters that are killing everybody.
I'll look for Ancient One. Do I see him?
Ancient One is currently at a kind of like the kitty corner hallway, like a 90-degree split from the very center of the room from where everybody else just ran. He is currently frustrated looking down that hallway, having lost his quarry.
I'll saunter over there.
Where?
Somewhere down that hallway.
If I may, Lonnie. May I would like to just extend my hands and just send out a cacophony of wires, like seeking out. If I can just seek out this thing like spider threads.
Creative use of powers. I like it. Go for it. Roll plus strange.
7.
You kind of set your wires out on the ground. They begin to spiral out in a net-like fashion, kind of serpentining their way down under door frames, into rooms, trying to tangle their way around everything like a creeping vine. It takes a while, but you do feel some resistance at one of the doors further down, or kind of like around the hallway further down. You felt it tug on something that then ripped away and began to sprint further.
Found him.
I will retract every wire except that one and follow it.
As you all follow that wire, it seems to lead into what looks to be a bay of what look to be escape pods layering around the outside of this area. Each of them look like they are currently dormant, and you don't see anybody right now.
Do I sense anything?
You might.
Roll strange?
Yeah.
That's an 11.
You sense an exasperated determination. As,
Do I know where it is?
Yes. It is coming from one of the first 10 pods. You're kind of able to kind of get like a general area as you work your way over there. And as you guys make your way towards that, I want each of you to give me a wits roll to try to like hear him out.
13.
Somebody's got it.
Very appropriate that you would be the one to hear this particularly, Ancient One, as both William and the Prophet can hear kind of a mutterance coming, kind of like echoing around. You hear the words specifically, Kandara Ferboraktan Senzo Korbensinger. This man is attempting to bind you with a spell.
Oh. Do I know where that speech is coming from?
It's coming from the third pod.
I immediately go to the third pod.
You can see him in there, now looking into the book and sometimes looking up at you. Baktorvin Temperakta!
Can I send some wires inside the pod itself, like through the cracks, and get him from the inside?
It does appear to be airtight, but you can attempt to break the pod. Go ahead and give me a roll plus strange.
That's a 7.
You start to wrap your wires around the pod. It begins to kind of like crack and buckle, but you haven't quite made its way in there. He continues his chant. Corben Terense!
I will
a
glance.
Sorry.
I'll glance over at William.
Masked one, break it.
A baleful wind begins to kind of howl around the area, and you begin to feel your grasp on this form begin to loosen as it begins to kind of like your non-corporeal being begins to buckle and churn and almost kind of become flesh itself. The body that you are within begins to pop and bloat.
Is there any small holes in this pod that have been made?
The pod itself is beginning to kind of crack, but it is supposed to be something that's space-worthy, so it will take a bit more to actually break it open.
Is there a viewport on the pod?
Yes, and you can see that it's starting to crack with the wires that are tightening around it as you can hear it like it's kind of like
I am going
straining
to
against
punch
this thing.
right through it and through his face.
Give me a roll plus body to try to break into this pod.
That is a 9.
You are able to, with your fist, kind of like shove your hand in there, but he's far enough back that you can't quite reach him. And as you pull your hand back, he's pointing a double-barreled shotgun at the front. Poof! And he unloads it directly into your face.
But there's a hole now.
There is now a hole. You take 5 points of damage there, William. How much shield do you have?
You gave me 2.
So that would be 3 points of damage that you take from this shotgun blast that fires off in your face as he goes back to reading at this book. Strange, Ancient One, give me a roll plus strange real quick.
8.
The body that you are within explodes as your massive true form begins to reveal itself. Do you have a true form in mind, or do you want me to explain what I have in my head?
Let's see what you got.
As these wild, root-like tentacles begin to sprawl out around the room, a living organ-like pulsating core with a massive eyeball laden with teeth begins to undulate at the center as its roots begin to unfurl and cling to the side of this pod. You now have a body of 3. Ancient One, just so you're aware.
Yep. Just fixing my stats.
You have now been given your body has now been given true form.
Damn it!
I don't know, this might be good.
It has its ups and downs. He is now theoretically mortal.
I will make you suffer.
He begins reading another passage. Gombento Tembera Tolentiren Gatsu. What would
Whose
everybody
turn is
like to
it?
do? Anybody's.
Well, now that there's a hole... I'd like to take a single wire, get it through that hole, and shove it straight into his brain.
All right. What would everybody else like to do?
I'm
Well,
probably
since there's a handhold, I want to rip the door off.
All right. And Ancient One?
I'm writhing my massive body to try and rip that pod like straight in half.
Excellent and
moving to do that.
interesting. So, in order, William, roll me body.
14.
Prophet, roll me strange.
8.
And Ancient One, roll me body.
7.
So, William, rip the door off its hinges. Just boom! You've popped it open. This man continues reading as the wire that was once wrapped around the door begins to make its way inward, trying to wrap its way around his face. He's able
Oh, not
to...
his face, not his face. I want to inject it into his brain.
I'm aware. The wire is
Okay.
trying to creep its way that way into his ear, but he, with the wherewithal that he has, is able to kind of like wrench his head out as the wire begins to try to make its way towards his ear. He partially scalps himself
Ow.
as he rips off part of his eyebrow and kind of like Cactus Jacks his ear. Corbin den Veractus! And you feel this baleful wind begin to collect more and more and more as you grab your tentacles, kind of writhe around the pod and begin to try to rip it free. Torperactu! Everybody has one more action as he tries to finish this incantation.
As I said, into his brain.
I want to stuff my tentacles into his mouth.
If he has a, if I can get to his body, I'm going to drive my knife into his heart.
All right. Prophet, Strange, Ancient Body, William Body.
7.
13.
12.
Okay, somebody's got to get him.
All right. Once again, this wire begins to wrap its way around him as he kind of like, from his side, he hurls a very compact node towards you. A brilliant light fires off, and a burning explosion erupts. The query array takes 5 points of damage.
Let me just... How do I do that? Oh, okay.
As electricity kind of crackles through the air. Corbin, Erbata! And William, you shove your knife into this man's gut. He coughs out, horks out a cloud and splatter of blood onto the book. Pormet Batu! And then the Ancient One's tentacles drive their way into his throat and down through his gullet, bloating him like an fleshy, meaty balloon and ripping apart his innards. The baleful wind continues. As the pod itself begins to kind of judder, and it starts to get sucked down back through the tube that it is currently on.
I'm going to take a wire and snatch up that book.
Go for it. Roll plus strange. Your query array. This normally would
12.
be something very easy, but yes, with a wire, you were able to grab the, kind of like bind the book and pull yourself forward as you're still collecting yourself, and the query array is just kind of trying to collect itself as well.
Can I
William,
read this book?
1 second. William, you are currently being pulled down the tunnel with this tube.
I am going to grab on to the pipe or some kind of railing and keep myself from being sucked into the vacuum of space.
All right, you pull yourself out. Ancient One, you are currently attached to the man that is being pulled in the body. Your physical form is being dragged inwards.
I'm going to try and shoot out one of my massive tentacles to try and pull myself out back into the ship.
All right, give me both William and Ancient One. Give me a roll plus body real quick.
Ooh,
Oh.
11.
Ancient One, your body gets pulled and pulled, and you can see now that it's not getting pulled into the vacuum of space, but as it falls further and further backwards, you see that the hole itself is a hole between space and time that is currently pulling you in. You specifically, William, you're able to kind of hold on as the Ancient One's body begins to kind of clog its way down this tube. This man's last act. Ancient One, you try to reach out with a tentacle to try to grab onto anything. Your body gets sucked further and further down this tube.
No. No!
Make me one more roll plus body, Ancient One.
Hey, come on. Come on. That's
Yay!
You're able to wrap your tentacles around one of the other pods. But this thing is not letting go as you continue to try to pull yourself out. Somebody needs to shut this fucking portal or you're getting sucked in.
May I?
Well, I would hope you. I don't talk.
No, I was gonna say, can I read this book?
Let's see. Crack it open and give me a roll plus strange.
A 9.
The language is strange. The runes are ancient, but there have been enough screams echoing throughout the histories of your sanctum that you're able to recognize some of its languages. It'll take you some time to find a way to get to the right passages, but you believe you'll be able to get there.
Yep, I'm looking for counterspell.
All right, you're looking to try to counterspell it. William, give me another roll plus body as this thing is still trying to suck you in.
7.
You slip a bit, but you're able to get a hold on one of the Ancient One's tentacles as you try to pull yourself back out. Ancient One, give me a roll plus body as William is now pulling from you.
15.
You're able to pull yourself a little further out. You can feel your tentacle kind of like ripping at the one tentacle that was being pulled into that vortex, kind of ripping as you pull yourself out there. Now give me another roll plus strange there, Prophet.
Okay. 9.
You found the passage and you begin to read it. But it'll take another... It'll take.
Do you have something for me to read, or I don't know what language you made up?
I don't. You can just say Klaatu Verata Nikto like a billion times in a row if you'd really like to. This will be another roll plus body for William and the Ancient One, and then one more roll plus strange for the Prophet.
13.
William,
11.
You're able to kind of pull yourself back free and try to get yourself out of the hole. And Ancient One, you've been able to secure yourself much more securely, but this thing it's not giving up. One more roll plus strange, Prophet.
Okay. 8.
8 will do it as you read off the incantation Septa Veritas Candor Tolen. The baleful wind begins to die down.
It's working.
And you're able to, once again, set yourself on the ground as the force of the vortex is no longer an issue.
May I
You
please?
do feel a shudder and a jolt from the station around you. As looking out through the observation window, you see the dotted lines of many, many, many escape vessels making their way out into space. And you feel it lurch as the viewport starts to take on more and more of the shape of the Moon Titan. Collision imminent. Collision imminent.
Give me the book.
Holds it out of reach for a second, but does hand it over.
I believe they say you owe me.
Yes. More than you know. I start reading through the book to see if there's something I know in here that could fix this.
The book was never for your eyes. The book was never for you to control.
What?
These are all in mortal languages.
Damn it. Get me a human body.
You can no longer possess a human body in this form.
Damn it.
Prophet slowly holds her hand out again.
I quickly give her back the book.
I will look for something myself.
This book is incomplete. It is missing many pages. It seems that while it itself holds a lot of power, it is an incomplete volume of what it once was. Looking through it, there is nothing that you can find that will teleport anybody anywhere outside of that vortex that was just about to suck all of you in. Collision imminent.
I will wordlessly walk toward one of the escape pods that have not been launched yet.
It's a strange contraption, but there's a little control panel on the side. Go ahead and give me a roll plus smarts.
6.
Oh.
It's a very strange contraption. You start kind of like fiddling with it. It'll take you a while to figure out how to open it.
Would I even be able to fit in one of those?
Yeah, I figured
Probably.
these things.
Unlikely, Ancient One. You are massive and gelatinous.
Molasses, as they would call it.
Yeah, molassinous. To your best guess, one of your only potential ways out might actually be the mystery of that fucking vortex. But unless you can find the means that guy intended to escape previously. They said something about a portal being opened by somebody on the outside. Or, and here's a thought. Actually, Ancient One, go ahead and give me a roll plus smarts.
7.
You don't need oxygen.
Well,
Just want to hug to the side. You want to hug on the outside of the pod,
that's what I'll probably do.
like a stuffed animal with suction cups.
You are going to be the coolest Garfield plushie stuck on
And
the side of my
in
mirror.
terms of transportation, so long as the array is around, you can travel to it and from it, so long as the holder of it allows you there. Prophet.
So I can just go back to my dimension for a minute.
Absolutely.
Wait, can I bring people with me?
Yeah. I mean, that's typically what you do, although once they're there, they are typically tortured. Or, given the, they are given the enlightenment of sensation. Sorry.
Oh, fair enough.
I didn't mean to insult your religion.
You know what? I'm just gonna open my portal up and look to those two, because they seem like hopefully they've got it covered as long as they just get the pot out. And I'll say,
Good luck to you both.
actually, before she leaves, she'll go to William and give him one last stroke of the cheek.
I hope we meet again.
And go into her portal and close it off.
And as the prophet disappears back into her realm, the query array clatters to the ground at your feet.
I will take the query array.
So
Keepsake!
yeah, and your portal back should that ever come into contention. So both William and Ancient One, give me another smarts roll to see if you can figure out how to work this thing.
12.
I was going to say Ancient One could re-roll their lowest number since they had previously inhabited somebody that knew this shit, but together you're very easily able to figure out how to open it up, and through the Ancient One's knowledge of the souls that he has consumed, he gives you the instructions on how to operate it. So
I also
as
give him the book as well and get him in the pod.
Yep, you sit in the pod with the query array and the Necronomicon, and as you press the buttons that you were told to press, the Ancient One begins to cling like a ancient eldritch octopus to the outside of the pod. You get to see all sorts of his Eldritchian...
Just like grandfather.
Yeah, just like Grandpa. And you get to see all sorts of his Eldritchian junk just kind of clinging to the viewport as this thing gets sucked out into space. And through the rear viewport, you can see as the massive space station known as Tartarus crashes down onto the Moon Titan's surface, and you begin drifting off into space. You hear a familiar hiss around you as you once again begin to drift off into a deep, deep slumber. Time passes. You dream once more. The Ancient One clings, becomes solidified to the outside due to the cold, icy vacuum of space. Until once again, one day, you hear that familiar hiss. I know, it's just floating out in space. You think there's anything good inside? Only one way to find out. And as you hear the outside of the door crack, your eyes jolt open, ready to take fresh new victims. And here's where we'll end our session.